Let's dive into the Ascension materials you'll need for Changli. First up, you're going to need 2.2 million credits, 60 Peo plums, 46 Rage Tassets, and 26 Sentinel daggers. You'll also need 82 Tailor rings and 175 metallic drips. Now, let's talk about the best weapons for Changli. Her best weapon is her signature weapon, Blazing Brilliance. Ignore the passive scalings and description for now, as they've improved it to scale with crit damage and attack secondary. If you can't get her signature weapon, the Emerald of Genesis is a great alternative, offering solid stats. For third best options, any of the 4-star weapons will do since we don't have many other choices for her yet. Next, let's look at Changli's best Echo and their main stats and substats. Her top Echo class is a 5-piece Molten Riff, and you should aim for a 43,311 setup. For her 4-slot Echo, Inferno Rider is what you want, focusing on crit damage %. The substats to aim for are crit damage, crit rate, and resonant skill, since her main damage comes from her skill as a burst DPS. Moving on to the 3-slot Echo, you'll want Geoide, with Violet Feathered Heron as the main stats focusing on elemental damage. Substats should be crit damage, crit rate, and resonance skill. For the 1-slot Echo, you can farm any Echoes in the databank as long as they have attack % primary and the right substats. Now, let's discuss Changli's best teammates and why they work well with her. But before we get into that, an important update. In a previous video, I mentioned Changli as a sub DPS, but with the latest changes, she is now a burst DPS. This means she's even more versatile and can fit into many different teams as a main DPS. You can run her with buffers, or in dual DPS setups with Encore, both are perfectly viable. For the best teammates, if you're using her as a main DPS, start with Dowie, who gives a huge buff to her skill. If you find Dowie's playstyle clunky, Jan Shin is a great alternative, offering buffs to her ULT and providing a solid shield. If neither works for you, try the dual DPS playstyle with Encore, which allows for quick switches and massive damage boosts from the 20% fusion damage. As for healers, Vina is a great choice, offering a big attack buff and solid healing. Another good healer option is Bai. Now, for the whales out there, here's an image showing Changli's resonance chains. Keep in mind, Kuro has had some translation issues, and Changli is 3 weeks away. Jinshi will be the first character to release, followed by Changli. If any changes occur, I'll update you guys. Before we wrap up, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. These guides take a lot of time to gather and condense the information quickly for you all, and your support means a lot. Final thoughts, who is Changli for, and will she last long term? Changli is a fusion DPS that gives fusion buffs, making her incredible for the game's long term. You can play her as a main DPS or even as a sub DPS, allowing for many crazy team comps. Just having her on a team can make a significant impact, potentially buffing future fire units and creating powerful combinations. Changli is visually stunning with a smooth, fast-paced kit. Whether you play her as a main DPS, dual DPS, or sub DPS, she offers high value for free-to-play players, light spenders, and whales alike.